the fact that you're all here, those who have been long-term into Dharma, or those who have been new to Dharma, but come to know about this teaching on emptiness, and then you feel interested, is a clear indication that you have some seed of the connection with the Dharma being activated. And some of you I know came all the way from far away, like where is Sharon? Sharon there, came all the way just for this retreat from Mauritius. And we have Piali here, who came all the way from America just for this retreat. And I'm sure there are others who came all the way from very far away places. So what I'm saying is that these are all indication that you have a great seed of awakening. And not only the seed of awakening, say the karmic link with this teaching on emptiness. And then all of us, somehow, you can easily go for pubs, nightclubs, so forth. And so that you chose to come here, which means that you have, each one of us, you have a very strong karmic connection with the teaching on emptiness. So precious. Okay. And so because of this, that given that we have come here for a greater purpose, not just to look for an intellectual inquiry or just a dry intellectual inquiry, so therefore what we do is that from day after tomorrow, so tomorrow we begin at 9 o'clock as scheduled, and from day after tomorrow, from 7 to 8 for 1 hour. Usually we do it for 2 hours. So let's make it a little less intense, the morning practice. From 7 to 8, we'll have the more like taking the aspirational Bodhisattva vow. And taking the aspirational Bodhisattva vow, some of you may feel, oh, it's a vow, so suddenly, so what it says. So no need to worry about. For the Bodhisattva vow, there are two kinds. One is known as aspirational Bodhisattva vow, and the other one is the actually engaged Bodhisattva vow. Engaged Bodhisattva vow, or Bodhisattva vow in general. If somebody says Bodhisattva vow, then it doesn't mean the aspirational Bodhisattva vow, it means the engaged Bodhisattva vow. So, of the two, the first one, which we are going to do from day after tomorrow, for this, it does not require any condition for you, as long as you're committed that from today onwards, I'll try my best to be helpful, kind to others. If not, at least I'll try my best not to harm others. This much, if you can commit, you're entitled to take this aspirational Bodhisattva vow. And it does not require that you should be Buddhist. It does not require that. Anybody can take this aspirational Bodhisattva vow. It's just to make a commitment that I'm going to, say, increase the power of my positive thinking, increase the power of my kindness. This is the whole purpose. Then whereas if people insist me that please give the actual Bodhisattva vow from today to tomorrow, I'll not. For the reason that for somebody to be entitled for the second Bodhisattva vow, which is the actual Bodhisattva vow, you should have some experience of Bodhicitta. You may not have the full-fledged Bodhicitta, but you must have some experience of Bodhicitta through consistent practice of the two methods of Bodhicitta. The sevenfold cause-effect method to generate Bodhicitta, and the method of equalizing the exchange of self for others. Only through the practice of these two methods on a systematic way, on a daily basis, or an extended period of time, then you start to feel that your compassion is really expanding, your heart is expanding, where usually small things, somebody triggers agitation within you, you feel disturbed, you feel angry, aversion, irritation. Instead, you feel more calm. Yes, you may feel disturbed, but then no corrosion towards the person, no aggression towards the person, no agitation towards the person. And as a person, even that person is also because of the ignorance that this was happening. This person deserves my compassion. So when your mind really expands, their compassion grows, then you are entitled. So when you feel that, say for example, say anybody can be compassionate. Anybody when you are mentally at peace and no particular problem with yourself, you may demonstrate compassion towards your friends, towards your parents, children, and so forth. But this doesn't mean, and some people may have genetically, some people may have karmically, or more compassion since childhood. Simply because somebody displays more the compassion doesn't mean that this is a bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is very different. And that comes, say, even if someone is very naturally gifted with compassion, versus when I should practice compassion, when you practice bodhicitta, on the basis of these two methods, over time you see the difference. That your mind expands, you see this is something which never happened before. Even if you are generally very kind person, by a normal standard you consider it a very kind person, you see that this is what I've never experienced before. So you can see that there's expansion of heart happening, which is very different from what we conventionally call as somebody being very generous, very kind. Okay, so with these two methods being practiced consistently, seriously, with other accompanying factors, then you see that your compassion expands in a very different way. Then you are entitled to take the actual Bodhisattva vow. Till that point, till the point, at least with respect to me, according to the standard positions, the one is to wait. But for the aspirational Bodhisattva vow, you don't have to wait till that point. So anybody can take it. So what we're doing is not the actual Bodhisattva vow, but the preparatory practice, which simply helps us to enhance, expand the circle of our compassion. Okay, this is one part that I'll share with you. So although we in our schedule, you don't find this morning 7 to 8 program, from day to tomorrow we will do this 7 to 8. And then usually we have from 6 to 8, sometimes like 5:45, 5:45 to 8. Why I'm making a little lenient, flexible this time is because the topic is very intense, emptiness, and because of this your mind needs a little bit of rest, so you can say you can take it more lightly, not to go just skip the rushing right from the morning 5:45 through till 9 p.m. So you can take it a little easy. Then next is group discussions. That's very important. And for the group discussions, what is expected is that the Venerable Bedunla, you can, say if possible, try to identify the people, like, let's say the kid is there, Arjuna is there, and Rodnilza is there, and Nicola is there, and of course there are the others also. So we've identified some of these people, and then split the whole group into like 4 or 5 groups depending on the size, and these people will initially take the lead, and later on everybody in the group will take the responsibility by rotation. So initially, because they know the retreat procedure well, so I'll let them be. And then also we have Young Bella there. Young Bella also there, who has been into retreat for so many times. So I'm sure there are some others who I cannot see it now. So what I'm saying is that those people who are more introductory, they know the procedures. Day one, let them do it, and then day two by rotation, and they were still there to assist and help. Okay, and group discussions is very important. Group discussions is compulsory. We have two groups of discussions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and the third one is optional, evening, after the dinner. That is optional. And for the group discussions, what I would suggest is that through my personal experience, when I was very young meaning totally inexperienced, right? So once when I was in Varanasi, Tibetan University Vice Chancellor invited me for a meal. And then she told me that there's another professor also there for the meal. It so happened that that lady professor, who must be already in her 70s, and I was just in my 40s. And this lady professor happened to know my predecessor, the former director of Tibet House, who was already in his 70s. So the Vice Chancellor of Varanasi Tibetan University, he must have informed the lady professor that I'm also inviting the director of Tibet House, new director of Tibet House. And she was expecting a very grey hair, like 70 years old. And suddenly I came, and she looked at me like this, young director. And I showed no emotion, nothing. I just being very courteous. And she looked at me again and said that she couldn't believe this is the new director, young director, twice. And still I showed no face change, so I should be saying thank you. And then somewhere inside she interpreted that as young means inexperienced, right? She said, no, I mean young in age, not young in experience. Okay, so what I'm saying is that as a young boy, anybody who can put me back in track, which discussion?
Optional group discussion. For optional group discussion.
Yes, okay, I'm just checking whether you're following me. Okay, so basically why I'm saying this is that as a young boy, and then when group discussions and so forth are there, just from inside, you want to prove that your point is good. And that when somebody else comes with some points, not so appealing, no, I should prove that that's wrong. My one's correct. And in the process, it's just 5 days. Unnecessarily, some people, they're so sensitive. They're coming to learn something, and then because of your aggression, my aggression, the other person may start to withdraw and may not feel the joy in coming to the group discussions. So that way, while unintentionally, with the best of intention to come to Dharma, Bodhicitta, wisdom, emptiness, so forth, unintentionally we can be creating, say the disservice to the Dharma, disservice to the sentient beings. So keep in mind that when that happens to you, if that does happen, the tendency, the proclivity, you see the proclivity being activated within you, just control yourself, and okay, it's just 4 or 5 days. I will not hurt anybody. I will let others speak. So, if somebody points to their point of view is not so meaningful, it doesn't matter. We came here not to prove that your view is perfect. We have come here to learn something. So somebody whose knowledge is 20%, learns 5%, grows to 5%. It's so precious. And if you listen very patiently, you actually allow the person to speak, allow the person to grow. Bodhicitta means to embrace everybody. So, by acknowledging the other person, oh, your question, and you sense that the person may not be too bright, but then he or she is attempting. Oh, you brought this question up, and this question is interesting. This question is interesting, and you can try to make it, say the more interesting, that other people will acknowledge that as a good question. So others will also support. This is very important. So, group discussion is so important, and let us all try to encourage each other rather than dissuading each other. So this is my request to all of us. And particularly those of us who are coming for these retreats, then the group discussions, taking part in these group discussions for the first time, the tendency, to say they prove that the other one's wrong, yours is correct, and so forth. These things are very much there. So, just keep in mind that those people who have been attending the retreat for so many times, look at how they behave, right? And if you see that they behave more calm, more patience, that's amazing. So you learn from them. And meanwhile, it's not that you are actually helping somebody else. You're helping yourself. You are teaching yourself the patience. Okay. And this retreat is not a retreat of silence. It's not a retreat of silence. In fact, the last retreat which we did, it was optional. Some people, they have this badge, silence, and then the craving to talk. There's a silence there, craving to talk. And then at a corner, somebody says, they start talking. What's his badge? Okay, so this is not a silence retreat. Instead, why not silence? Is because that silence is primarily, some people may say that, oh no, I want a silent retreat. Silence retreat is one retreat. And this emptiness retreat is another retreat. Why? Why these are different? Is that emptiness is where you are deliberately activating your cognitive activities of the brain. For becoming enlightened, to become enlightened, it's not just remaining silent. If you remain silent, if that attains gives you enlightenment, then the Buddha's two teachers, the first two teachers, Acharya Alarakalam, Acharya Udreka, two of them should have become enlightened, but they did not become enlightened. They did not. They did not. So in terms of the single point of meditation, they have already reached the zenith, the highest level of the single point of meditation. But they are not enlightened because the other factors are missing. Cognitive activation of the mind is missing. What is that? The wisdom of emptiness is missing. So, we require these two things. One, to activate, to make yourself cognitively extremely intelligent, to know the reality as it is, and stability-wise, to make the mind, the concentration very powerful. Two. So we can't do both within a single setting. And you have to do them separately, and you as an individual, after taking part in these two programs separately, you have to bring these two to the unity yourself in your own personal practice. That's your job later on. So when you reach the level of gade, para gade, right? When you reach that level, again struggling, depend how can I attend retreat? No. So when you reach that level, you have already reached a very high level, then you have to do the practice yourself and put all these, you have to create the synergy of all these meditation practices, not in isolation. They all should be synergized. This is what we need to keep in mind. So therefore, given that this requires tremendous activation of your cognitive ability, it requires a lot of inquiries. So group discussions is encouraged, and optional group discussions encouraged, and the silence is not encouraged. But when they say no silence, it doesn't mean that you have to go into just gossiping. Gossiping is not allowed, right? Okay, what do you plan to do after this retreat, right? So I have 1 or 2 weeks free. I'm planning to go to Goa beach. Would you come? These are all gossipings. So when we say no, not a silent retreat, doesn't mean that there's a room for gossiping. No room for gossiping. So instead of gossiping, remain silent. That's better, right? So when I say no silence means that even when you meet somebody, you discuss on the questions you have in your mind, that comes to your mind from the classes, from the group discussions. Bring this up. Okay. So having said this, the actual class we will begin from tomorrow. And so today we will do a very quick prayer. So that must be that's extremely important part. Okay, even I cannot operate it here. So if somebody can, borrow me a book, and you can share with somebody else. Anyone? No, because you don't have somebody share with you. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you so much. And did I mention Nicola's name? No? Yes, okay. So Nicola can help us greatly for the group discussions. Yes. Okay. Setting a proper motivation. That is that the great Tibet masters, for virtues, any virtuous activities that you engage in, 2 activities to be kept in mind as important. One in the beginning, at the outset, and one at the end. In the beginning, setting a proper motivation. At the end, dedicating virtues properly. So initially, or at the beginning, setting proper motivation. At the end, dedicating the virtues properly. So these 2 are considered very important. And so in the beginning, so whenever the teachings of Viswanatha happens, we see that some prayers have been done before the actual teaching. So it is not just a ritual; it's meant for the individuals, the audience, to really go into reflection, to set the motivation, and to tone your mind, to prepare your mind well to receive the teachings properly. So for that matter, let us think of, the refuge in Bodhicitta. For the refuge field, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni. Oh, by the way, here, there's the Buddha here, and I'm sure many of you have been here since, say, once, twice, 3 times, or some of the members for all these many years. And during our last meeting, it was primarily because of Venerable Petula, who suggested to Venerable Samula that, we can conduct some programs, retreats here with me. And then it so happened by dependent origination. By dependent origination and blessings of all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that the thought that, okay, there should be a Buddha image here, that really something, because this institution is not a private house institution, there should be a bigger Buddha image. And then just a thought came to me that I should take the initiative. And then I told them that I'll do that, and within how many months?
It was last September.
Last September. From there, then Mr. Chirun, who was here last time, I assigned him to really be the coordinator. And there were so many people who contributed without me having done any fundraising. In fact, I hate fundraising. I hate fundraising for any reasons. Even for Tibet House, I just discourage people from doing fundraising. So even for this, I did not tell anybody that, this is what's happening. People make some offerings. I said, I'll return this, and they insisted. Then I said, okay, if you insist, then I'll use this for a project. And they asked me, what's the project? Then I say, this is a project. Then, they say they may be informing others, and then this is how the things came into place. Okay. So, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in space in front of us. Number one. Number two, how you visualize them. This is very important. If you do not include the second part, how you visualize them, then even though you have been doing this practice, visualizing Buddha, Bodhisattvas and so forth for like 20, 30, 40 years, the spiritual development may not be as intended, may not be as efficient. So, second one plays a very important role. That is how you visualize these enlightened beings, that they are so loving, caring and embracing. Where the mother, they looks at the child when the child is sick. How the mother looks at the child with so much love, care, so much compassion. So this is how you should visualize all the Bodhisattvas as so loving, caring, embracing to you and all the beings. Okay. Then next, for the Bodhicitta field, visualize your two kind parents on your two sides, your children and all the family members and all the sentient beings, human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, hell beings, god and goddesses, spirits, everyone. And when I say your two kind parents, some of you may not agree with me, or you may feel a little uncomfortable, because you may be having some conflicts, or they say the uneasy feeling with your parents. So don't worry. So we come here to transcend the ordinary people's thinking. And the fact that if you do have some conflicts, frictions with your parents, these are the mere reflections of our being ordinary. And this is how the ordinary people behave. So now we are trying to transcend that. If this is a behavior with your parents, with somebody else, you will never be happy. So transcend means transcend from unhappiness to the happiness. Transcend from fear to the fearlessness. Transcend from imperfection to the perfection. And transcend from, say, the holding grudge to forgiveness. Is so beautiful. Okay. So just visualize all the sentient beings with you. And then again, how you visualize them, that makes a whole difference. That you are there like the mother, and all others are like your children. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken this Buddha nature, the seed of perfection within you. And what is the seed of perfection? What is the Buddha nature? This is what we're going to discuss tomorrow. So in other words, each one of us has the seed of perfection within us. So this seed of perfection needs to be awakened. And what is Dharma? Dharma is standing a system which helps you to awaken this seed of perfection. That is Dharma. So just see that this is the whole purpose. The purpose for me to engage in Dharma, to activate this Buddha nature within me, that I experience fearlessness, that I experience infinite happiness, and that I share these two treasures with all other beings. Okay, with this in mind, let us turn to page 3. And as we recite these verses, what is expected is that there are 2 ways of reciting. In fact, there are 3 ways of reciting these verses. 1, you recite the verses where the words flow. Number 2, when you recite the verses or the paragraphs, words flow and the meaning is reflected. Meaning is reflected. Number 3, words flow, meaning is reflected, and experience is invoked. When an experience is invoked, just by saying that enthused by great compassion, when experience is invoked, you will feel the goosebumps in the body, tickling sensations through your body. So these are the very high level of recitation. What is number 1? Where the words flow, but the meaning is not reflected. And forget about the experiences invoked. Number 2, words flow, meaning is reflected, but the experience is not invoked. Third, words flow, meaning is reflected, and experience is invoked. So of the 3 versions of recitation, the third one is the best. But to reach to the level of the third, we require a lot of practice. But here, we can at least get to number 2. Don't stay. The verse is not saying anything. And the second verse, the second best is then go for the words. Meanings may not be reflected. Then the really good one within our capacity here is at least try to know, at least to what is said there, the meanings reflected. If you do that, then you have done a good job. The growth takes place. One, the purpose is for the growth. If the growth is not there, what's the point of wasting time? And if the growth is not there, for example, in my case, right? Say in my 20s, no white hair. In my 30s, 1 to 3 white hairs come. In 40s, more white hairs come. Now more white hairs coming. White hairs never stop. But your growth may not guarantee keep growing, right? Spiritual growth may not happen, the white hairs keep growing. You getting it? So this should not happen. The white hairs keep growing, but the spiritual growth also should happen. And this will not happen naturally. You have to put an effort to make it happen. How? At least when you recite the verses, make sure that the meanings are reflected. Good. Okay. With this mind, imagine that you are leading these recitations, and then all the beings are joining you, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are watching us. Page 3. And teach by great compassion, you taught them accurate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught them accurate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught them accurate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Sanje Juda Soge Chonam La Chanjo Babu Dani Kyasuch Age Jinso Kebe Sonam Sanje Juda Soge Chonam La Chanjo Babu Dani Kyasuch Age Jinso Kebe Sonam Rola Benjir Sanje Jubara Isho Sanje Juda Soge Chonam Chanjo Bado Dane Gyatsu Che Dage Jinso Kebe Sonamgi Rola Benjire Sanye Drubara Sho. Okay, possible, I'll try to make the request to Tibet House to send more books, then to make sure that each one of you have your own copies, and then you can make notes there, notes, clean notes, not out of respect. With respect, you make clean notes in because why I'm saying this, I'm going to explain some of these, and particularly Arjana's text. We have to use this book. So you will surely make notes on this. Okay. So page 4, what we read, we have to know the meaning. So quickly explain this, the Tibetan verse which you read just now, the meanings. First, Sangye. Sangye is Buddha. Ch is the Dharma. Tang is and. Tang is and. Tsokki chok. Tsokki chok. Tsok is the assembly or accumulation. So here's the assembly. Ki chok. Ki is the linking word. Chok is the supreme of the assembly, referring to the Sangha. So Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Namla, nam means these, those, these. La is 2 or 4. Changchup, Changchup is enlightenment. Changchup. Pardu is till, until. Dak, dak is I. Ni is again linking word. Kyapsuchi, go for refuge. Kyapsuchi is go for refuge. Changju Pardu Tane Kyapsuchi, I go for refuge until I become enlightened. Daki, again Dak, line 3. Dak is the self or the I. Ki is the linking word. Jin is the generosity. Jin is generosity. Jimpa, generosity. Sok is etc. etc. Sok. Jin sok. Kiba. Kiba is done. Done. Kibe. Tsoknam. Tsok is the accumulation. Accumulation. Tsoknam is these. Ki, by. So, by the accumulation of the generosity which I did. Dagi Jinso give Tsoknam ki. Dola Panjuk. Dola. Do is migrators or sentient beings. Do is migrators or sentient beings. Do. Sentient beings, the technical term is sentient. But do, technically it is migrators, referring to sentient beings. Because sentient beings, they migrate from one part of samsara to the next part of samsara to the next part of samsara endlessly. So they are known as migrators. Dola, penchir. Penpa is, pen is to benefit. Chir is for the sake of, in order to. Penchir. Sangye, Buddha. Dupar. Dupar is accomplish or attain. Dupar, shok. Shok is may. May I attain Buddhahood for to benefit the migrators. Okay, so the meaning is down there. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Okay, this is the meaning which we're going to read. Now, let's read the meaning in English 3 times. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Okay, the next verse is extremely important, and in the big monastic universities, to know this meaning, they may wait for like 10 years with utmost preparation. And we are going to learn this meaning within 4 days. Don't disclose the secret to the monastic members who wait for like 10 years with so much of preparation. Right? Okay. So we'll the meanings, I'll explain this when our explanation of emptiness is drawing closer towards the end. Then this meaning will make sense to us. Otherwise, till that point, it will not make sense to us. But for time which as we say this, we could use for this, and later on, when the meanings with the explanation of emptiness, and then the meanings reflect, meanings explained, you'll feel that this is so precious. And this is actually the verse by composed by Arjuna, as a word of salutation to Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay, let's see this together. Independent origination. There is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas, which through the knowledge of all lead hearers in pacification, the complete peace, which through the knowledge of paths causes those that help migrate to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of subdue expanded varieties of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by to the benefit of sentient beings, the teacher, Sukha and protector, to you I'm in prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you the Buddha I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I chant the matter full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, so before we read the next verse, I'm going to quickly explain this. This is the mantra, the essence of dependent original mantra in Tibetan, Tende Nyingbu Sungha. And this is extremely precious. This is actually what the Buddha himself taught. And at one point in when the Buddha was there in the heaven, Shariputra, the Avalokiteshvara, he stood up, who was amongst the audience there. He stood up, prostration to the Buddha, and then reported to the Buddha that there are so many the heavenly boys and the god and goddesses, they have come to pay respect to you. And one thing that they want to learn from you is how to accumulate so much of merit within a short span of time. And the merit that equals the merit of the taking birth in the Brahma realm. What is Brahma realm? And the Brahma realm is, there's one particular realm which is classified as the category of the formal realm. And to take birth there, you require a lot of merit. So therefore, it doesn't mean that you have to take birth there. It is like saying that, say I have enough money to go to a five-star hotel. It doesn't mean that you have to go there, which means you have enough money. So likewise, the merit to take birth there doesn't mean that you have to take birth there. This merit you can use for your Dharma practice. Okay. Then the Buddha taught this Ye Dharma mantra. You recite this, reflect on this meaning, the merit accumulation is so much. So therefore, these are all coming from the Buddha's own teachings. So with this in mind, we know this meaning, and then when you take flights, when you go by train, you go by cars, or by bus, or by, the ships in the ocean, you recite this mantra for all these trillions and trillions of creatures in the ocean. Recite this mantra for them. They've never heard about these teachings of Buddha before. Now you are like the bridge, you are like the angel, you are like the medium through which they are getting a share of the Buddha's teachings. And when you are in the aeroplane, so down you see all the huge city, towns, you see them. How many people are there? How many creatures are there? Millions of people are there out of this, just within preview. There are millions of people there, and most likely, if 1% of this have heard the teachings of the Buddha, it's amazing. 99% of people, they have not heard the Buddha's teachings. Then you recite this for them. Then, and mentally talk to them that this is the teaching of the Buddha, so precious. You take this, practice this, and free yourself from suffering and attain the total fearlessness and infinite happiness. Just mentally talk to them, and then how you share the Dhamma with others. Okay, so with this in mind, the meaning here is the first one, Om. This syllable, Om. We see that with this or without this, both are correct. It's not that with this the absence of this is incomplete. No, with Om, without Om, both are correct. If you want to say, if you want to add this Om, you have to know the meaning of the Om. So this syllable Om is used by the Buddhists, the Hindus, and the Jains, and the meanings can differ. Meanings may not be same in all these three contexts. In the Buddhist context, Om, this syllable Om is constituted of three letters, A, U, Ma. And these three letters combined together is pronounced as Om, not as There's Om. And these three letters, they symbolize body, speech, and mind of each one of us as defiled beings. Defiled body, defiled speech, and defiled mind. And also the body, speech, and mind of the enlightened beings, meaning of the Buddhas. Who Buddhas? You, when you become a Buddha. When you become a Buddha, your body, speech, and mind, they are referred to as they're referred to by these syllables. A, U, Ma. A symbolizing your body of the defiled being, and when you become Buddha, pure being. U symbolizing your speech, when you are impure now, and also when you become pure, absolutely pure. Then Ma symbolizing your mind, when you're impure, as well as when you become pure. So what's the meaning? The meaning is that when you say I become enlightened, that I'm free from all suffering, that I experience infinite happiness. What I mean by that is that your body, speech, and mind should be freed from suffering. Body, speech, and mind. So what makes us not free? When they are defiled, we are not freed. When they are free from the defilements, then you experience total fearlessness and infinite happiness. So this is the meaning, that I should not remain as an ordinary person. I have the potential, just as His Holiness the Dalai Lama, just as the Buddha Shakyamuni, they have the amazing potential, they have the amazing enlightenment within the mind. So I also have the potential. My mind is not enlightened, but has the potential for enlightenment. So the gold mixed with the soil, mixed with the mud. For the Buddha, for the enlightened beings like His Holiness, the Buddha Shakyamuni and so forth, the gold is visible, is glowing. In our case, we don't see the gold glowing. It doesn't mean that you don't have the gold. You have the gold, but it's mixed with the mud. When mixed with the mud, if no the gold is there, it's not visible. So ordinary people like us may dump this, but the gold experts will not allow you to dump it. This is so precious. You have a gold there. How do you know that this gold there? Gold means to glow. Nothing glows inside me. So what will they do? The gold experts will remove the mud. Remove the mud. As you remove the mud more, then the gold inside will start to glow more and more. Likewise, you put you resort to the respective the remedies. Then the mental defilements will be removed. As they remove more, then the gold inside will start to glow. Earlier, the fear, you become more and more fearless. Earlier, very self-centered, you become more and more easygoing person with so much love and affection, the joy of love and affection. Earlier, very rigid person, now very open-minded. So you see that there's a growth, and your potential inside is becoming manifest. So from this you realize, okay, if I practice more, then the gold inside me will become manifest fully, so that I also become one like Buddha Shakyamuni. I also become like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, where my mind is totally freed of all anxiety, stress, and depression and so forth, and instead experience the infinite happiness. Okay. So this is what we should be reminded of when you recite the syllable Om. Now next is how. How can we transform the impure body, speech, and mind to the pure body, speech, and mind? Then the following lines will explain that. Ye dharma hetu prabhava. Ye dharma, these phenomena. Ye, these dharma phenomena. Hetu, cause. hetu cause, hetu prabhava. Prabhava is arise. These phenomena arise from causes. Your happiness, your miseries, they don't arise randomly. They arise from their causes. They arise from the causes. Umyedama hetu prabhava. Hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat. Hetum is a plural form of cause. Hetu is a singular. Hetum is a plural form of cause. Hetum tesham. Tesham is these. Hetum, these causes. Tathagato. Tathagato means the one who has gone to the thusness or the ultimate. The Buddha, referring to the Buddha. Tathagato. Buddha doesn't mean the Buddha Shakyamuni. Buddha means all the enlightened beings. How many Buddhas are there? There are innumerable Buddhas are there. So, the Buddha which is directly, comically connected with us is the Buddha Shakyamuni. Because we reap the benefit of the teachings of Buddha Shakyamuni now. Otherwise, before that, there are countless numbers of Buddhas appeared, and within this single aeon, it is said that there's going to be 1,000 Buddhas, and Buddha Shakyamuni was the fourth one. So before him, from the point of view of one single aeon, that duration, say already 4 Buddhas appeared. In the context of the time, 1 aeon, in the context of the planet Earth, here, the 4 Buddhas appeared, and 3 Buddhas appeared before Buddha Shakyamuni. But the teachings that we benefit from, these teachings are the teachings of the Buddha Shakyamuni. So we have very strong karmic connection with the Buddha Shakyamuni. Otherwise, here the Tathagata means not only Buddha Shakyamuni, but all the Buddhas. Hyavatat is taught or said. So what are the causes? What are the causes of these miseries that we go through? Is said by the Tathagata. Tesham means these. Chayo is these, meaning these causes. Chayo is whatever these causes of the miseries. Tesham chayo nirodha, cessation. Cessation meaning bringing to an end, stopping whatever of the causes, whatever of these causes of the miseries. Tesham chayo nirodha evam is thus. Vadi, again, vadi is taught or spoke or indicated, or taught by the Mahashramana. Maha is the great, Shamana is the seer or the saint. So how to bring an end to these causes of miseries is also taught by the great seer. Yes Vaha is established thus. This is what is established. This is the truth. This is established. Okay, we'll say this 3 times together. And then I know that there are many of you who, it seems that there are many faces from NMC 1, NMC 2, NDC 1, 2, 3, 4, raise hands from any of these groups. Okay, there are many. Most of you are from. Okay, good. So you see that you know how to sing this, and those of you who do not know how to sing this, don't worry. Listen to us, and then join us. Om ye dharma ye tu prabhavam hetum desham dathagato yavatat desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashamana yesva. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashamana yesva. Hetu prabhavam hetum
Shesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Swaha. The meaning of the Tenjin mantra: all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The sensational causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-light and non-composite, such as nectar-like Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I return to the woods. Beyond our trends, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. Is all due to apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the 3 times of obeisance. All the 4 seeds of the Buddha's teachings, all composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness. Transcendent soul is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, the Guru is the Sangha, the Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of years. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does his spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine light of Dharma for all world and misery's gloom. You are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. You are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. You are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, let's turn to page 29, Heart Sutra Mantra. Okay, sorry, it's 31. Page 31. Page 31. Page 31. Again, we'll sing this line in the middle. Tatyatha Om Gade Gade Para Gade Para Sam Gade Bodhiswa. So this verse literally, the literal meaning is Tatyatha. Tatyatha means here is thus. Here is thus. This is what we should be doing. Om, with, without, both are fine. Then the Gate, there are 5 points indicated. Gate, and some of you may be reciting this for all these many years, and you may not know the meaning. Okay, so now we will explain this meaning on a very surface level now, and later towards the end of this retreat, we should make sure that we know the deeper meaning. Anybody who likes to remind me for the deeper meaning of this and closer towards the Yeshila, Nobala. Closer towards the end of this retreat, we should know this meaning more deeply. So Nobala is there, and I need 2 or 3 people. Raise hands. Okay, here, 2, 1, 2, 3. You know why I'm asking them to raise their hands? Because in the end, if I leave without explaining this, I'm not responsible. Right? Okay. And the literal meaning is Gate Gate. This is all Sanskrit. Gate Gate is go, go. Gate Gate, go, go. Para Gate, go beyond. Para Sangate, go utterly beyond. Bodhiswaha, establish your enlightenment. Bodhi is awakening or enlightenment. Gate Gate is go, go. Paragate is go beyond. Parasangate is go utterly beyond. Bodhiswaha, establish your full awakening. Meaning, the establish full awakening meaning, just awaken this gold within you, make it glow perfectly well. How? Remove all the dirt. Then this gold within you, which glows perfectly well, will be manifested in the form of you experiencing fearlessness and infinite happiness. 24/7 fearlessness, 24/7 infinite happiness.
Okay. And the deeper meaning we'll explain later. So we'll say this, sing this together. And imagine that given that this is extremely precious mantra, but when you know this meaning so well, you recite it. As I said earlier, you can have goosebumps in your body, and you feel the preciousness, the vastness, and the impact of this. And for all these things to happen, you have to get some experience of what emptiness is. Then you read this, just this line. There's a tremendous, you just feel like crying. This is the greatest meaning out of my life. You'll feel that. And imagine that you are leading this recitation. All the Buddhist Bodhisattvas are there in front of you, and particularly this is said in Rajgir, Vulture's Peak. On Vulture's Peak, I'm sure that many of you have been there, Vulture's Peak, Chagupuri. So just imagine you are there in Vulture's Peak. In front of you is Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Aravalokiteshvara, Shariputra, and all the monks and nuns and the bodhisattvas and the lay devotees are there, and you are in front of in the front row, the first row, facing the Buddha Shakyamuni, and so forth. Your two parents, your children, all the family members are with you, all centuries are with you. And you inspire, and everybody is joining you to cleanse the mind of the mental defilements, to experience the fearlessness and infinite happiness, the way, the manner in which Buddha Shakyamuni experienced. Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasambhave Bodhiswatyata 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 Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasambhave Okay, now we will do the end direction prayer. Okay, page 52, just 3 verses. So as we said earlier, at the outset, setting proper motivation is the key. At the end, dedicating virtues properly is the key. So there are 2 things to not miss when we engage in the virtues. So, and then now we are drawing closer to this end. We are dedicating the virtues properly. So let's dedicate that, whatever merit that we accumulate, no doubt that we'll accumulate so much merit. And I see that there's so many young, the really young ones, basically extremely meritorious, virtuous. And at such a young age, you start to take interest in these. You are very, very meritorious. And all of us, even the elders, the fact that you take interest in this is so precious. So no doubt you accumulate so much merit. So with this accumulation merit, whatever will be accumulated within the span of the next 5 days, let us
dedicate these for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And let us also pray the dedicated merits thus gathered that the Ukraine war comes to an end as soon as possible. So it's all these unnecessary, say the problems created on the citizens of the Ukrainian, citizens of the Russian, both sides, all these unnecessary problems will come to an end, and people can sigh, people can take fresh breath of air of peace, respite, and the happiness. And let's also pray that the COVID-19 comes to an end as soon as possible. Of course, it is almost gone, but still, we're in the pockets, various pockets of the places in the world. We see that it's still coming up. Let's pray that it's subsided completely altogether. And also let us pray that the people who died to COVID-19, who died to the Ukraine war, and who died otherwise as well, that they take a favorable birth to meet with the teacher of the wisdom of emptiness and the Bodhicitta, so that each one of them will become such a reliable guide to lead all, become the beacon of joy, happiness, wisdom, compassion for all other beings. Let's also pray that by the power of this merit that thus gathered, that the teachings of the Buddha pertaining to the Bodhicitta, the wisdom of emptiness, thrive in every corner of the world and the universe. And may I present pray that each one of you, through concerted effort in this practice, that you soon become the reliable guide to lead all other demonstration beings towards ultimate happiness. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas for 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine, scripture, and insight. May in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the mind and vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfectly in the 2 stages. From our 2 collections, vast the space that have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom, eyes blinded by ignorance. Teata Om Gati Gati